Thursday morning. It is July the 24th. Rise and shine, rise and shine. This is Coffee Talk. I'm West 2 First Warning meteorologist Eric Burris. We get together 7 days a week, chat about what's going on in the world of weather. And listen, this morning is stunning. A live look outside on our Tower Cam network up here in Ocala showing clear skies. It doesn't look like summer. Even if it is, doesn't look like it, right? Clear skies. First warning live Doppler radar showing rains off of either coast, but that's it. Had plenty of big delays yesterday at the airport. Thankfully, not seeing much this morning. There are a few issues here or there. Look at these temperatures. A little ribbon of drier air sneaking into our northern spots, which is why Ocala is as clear as it is. Starting off at 75 degrees up that way. I mean, it's not cool, don't get me wrong, but that's not bad either, right? 78 in Leesburg, 77 in Sanford, 80 degrees for us in Titusville. So it's looking good. There is some rain out there. First warning live Doppler radar kind of put this into a loop, and you can see off of our east coast. Not much of a concern, not going to bother us whatsoever. Same thing over on blah, 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 blah. Moving on over. Moving on over. Same thing on the west coast. Some rains out there. Lifting up, not bothering us whatsoever. So we're looking good. 12-hour forecast today does reveal an active day once again. I think it's going to be a wide coverage of rain today. 50 to 60% as temperatures climb to about 93 degrees. And when we look at the overall high temperature forecast, we're in the ballpark of where we should be, right? 92, 93 across the interior areas, upper 80s along the coast. So not too bad out that way. In terms of the rainfall coverage, let's look at today's overall setup. The best coverage of rain is going to be in our western areas, it looks like. So let's do this. Let's dial up Futurecast and get an idea kind of hour by hour how this is going to play out. All right. This morning, starting off gorgeous, starting off nice and quiet. Through the day, we'll see that East Coast sea breeze develop a few showers and a few thunder showers. 1, 2, 3 o'clock, getting into the metro, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, and then working out toward the west by about 5, 6, 7 o'clock or so. Okay, so that's kind of the overall idea in terms of today's rainfall. But next couple of days, looking at rain chances and the flooding concerns start shifting more and more off to the west. Why? Because tropical moisture is shifting off to the west. So for today, the Big Bend through the Gulf Coast. Tomorrow, kind of Panhandle Gulf Coast. And then into Saturday, it's Louisiana and Texas. Watching for the threat of any kind of flooding. Why? It's because of this thing. All right. This big tropical area of moisture kind of sitting away from us. The good news is it just doesn't look like it's in any position to get any kind of development going, or at least any kind of significant development. So, 8 a.m. update from the National Hurricane Center, keeping this with having a low 10% chance of formation. Again, not a big concern with it. It's just kind of there. It's bringing up the moisture chances. It's definitely giving flood concerns out west. Here's a look at the QPF, which is the quantitative precipitation forecast. This comes from the WPC. This is not our forecast, but the Weather Prediction Center, which is part of the National Weather Service. Next couple of days, 2 to 4 inches of rain across like Lake Charles, kind of Baton Rouge area there, central, western Louisiana. Then you get over toward like Houston, Galveston, coastal Texas, like 1 to 2. And you can see some higher amounts around Mobile, Pensacola, that sort of thing. But for us, it's just your run of the mill shower and thunderstorm chances, okay? Now, that said, let's take a minute and let's look ahead to the weekend because things are going to be changing. All right, scorching heat builds back to central Florida. For Saturday, 96. These are high temperatures. These are actual high temperatures. Okay, Saturday, 96 degrees. Sunday, 97 degrees. Monday, 98 degrees. Again, those are actual high temperature forecasts. That's why for Sunday and Monday, we're calling it impact weather. Those are significant heat event numbers right there. So look at the 7-day forecast here, okay? Today, tomorrow, we've got the storms around. Got it. Perfect. It's fine. Saturday, Sunday, Monday, those temperatures really start to climb. And particularly on Sunday and Monday, we get into some dangerous terrain in terms of heat. Hottest temperatures that we've seen in Orlando thus far, 96. So we are anticipating Sunday and Monday. Excuse me, went down the wrong pipe. We are anticipating Sunday and Monday to be the hottest air of the year. Okay, so we need to be ready for that, right? Let's look at those temperatures around Central Florida. And of course, this is subject to change as we kind of see how the overall weather pattern plays out. But here's our Sunday forecast numbers. Okay, 97 in Orlando, 96 in Claremont, 96 degrees in Leesburg, even along the coast. Look at Melbourne, 92, 92 Daytona Beach, 94 in Palm Bay, right? Look at Monday. Monday could be even hotter, frankly. Here's our Monday forecast numbers: 98 in Orlando, 98 in Kissimmee, 99. These are actual high temperatures, 99 degrees in Claremont, 97 in the villages, even along our East Coast beaches. 94 Daytona Beach, 94 degrees in New Smyrna Beach. Yeah, that's not that's not funny, right? Like that's actual serious heat. Um, Feels like temperatures, okay, are going to be even higher than that. We're going to be getting into dangerous terrain. So that's going to be why. And again, this is not hype, but you're hyping. No, I'm not hyping. That's not what this is at all. This is me doing my job of informing you about the big changes that are coming, right? So 7-day forecast kind of showing. We start with a stormy pattern today. Tomorrow, a somewhat normal pattern for midsummer. Saturday, Sunday, Monday, we really pivot. And then Tuesday, we start to transition back into a standard midsummer's pattern looking ahead to next week. Okay. So that's kind of where we're at. I'll pause for a second. We'll just kind of say good morning to each other. I know that I've missed some of y'all's comments, all of y'all's comments. So I apologize for that. But we'll take a minute, pause, and go from there. Tara says, "Oh my, feeling hot, hot, hot." Yeah, you can hear the song. Getting you feeling hot, hot, hot. Doo, doo. I know. I can't sing anymore. Remember, the copyright police came at me. Mike, here's your 7-day. Yeah, yeah. That's one way to say it. Indeed. Tammy's asking about heat indexes. Yeah, so heat index numbers. None of our high resolution models quite make it to Sunday, Monday. We can do this is like, let's see. This is a lower resolution grid. Oh, hold on, it's going backward. Of course. Stand by, because somebody's messing with it right now. What is today? Monday. Okay. All right. All right. So feels like temperatures Friday, Saturday. So here's Saturday. Let's go to Sunday. So it's showing Sunday at 105, 104 in the interior spots. Um, upper 90s along the coast. It wouldn't surprise me if we get higher than that, frankly. Let's look at Monday. Yeah, 107. So that's where we're at. That's what we're looking at is feels like temperatures Sunday and Monday, 100, 101, 105, 107. You get up to 110, that's genuinely dangerous stuff, okay? So, yeah, looking ahead to the weekend plans, particularly on Sunday, that's when we really start to dial that up. All right? Yeah. All right. I see a few of you asking about heat index numbers. All right, so there you go. We got you taken care of. With a heat index, Tanya says, of 150. Thankfully not, but it'll feel that way. Charles says, yeah, I'll pass on those temps. It's warm up here in New York City during the day, but last evening and night it was very nice. Mid to low 70s with a brisk breeze at all times. Yeah, that's not bad. Not bad at all. I was going to stockpile food so I can simply stay home. There you go, Betty. Hibernation time. There you go. Terry says, we are very grateful for your coffee talk information and just chatting, answering questions. Look forward to watching every day. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. Matt's asking, can we cut those feels like numbers in half? Yeah, it's called winter in Florida, right? Michael, the weather station at our HOA showed a heat index of 121 last weekend. I mean, without knowing quality control, it is what it is. Tanya says everyone needs to be walking through some parking lots, checking for kids and pets. I feel like during the summertime, I do catch myself looking into car windows. I do. And I know we've talked about this, but I think that we talked, what was it, last week? We were talking about like, what would you do? That kind of a thing, right? But I do catch myself, and if somebody ever asks, nobody ever has, but I feel like I'm prepared. My whole thing is like, you got to prepare. If somebody ever asks them, be like, well, I'm just making sure there's no kids or pets or anything, right? Like with this kind of heat, and I feel like as long as you're not like peeking in, like, I feel like as long as you're not doing it to that point, you know, if somebody was looking in my car and I was like, "Can I help you?" and they're like, "Oh, I was just looking to make sure there was no kids." I don't know, maybe I got a little ick, but like I would understand it as opposed to if they just looked and they were just like, "No reason." Then you're like, "Were you gonna break into my car?" You know? So yeah, Tanya, we have a winter. Turns out we do. May not be a very significant one, but turns out we do. Oh man. Mary says, I always turn on morning chat before I watch the news. It's so peaceful and you're super smile. Well, I'm super thank you. I just have you fooled is what it is. No, I appreciate you. Mary, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Mike says, it's so hot, even mob guys aren't putting people in the trunks of cars. Ugh, I'm not going to touch that one. Catherine says, hate that we cannot sit outside like the years past, early morning or evening. The heat and humidity is too much. I mean, if you look at the data, though, Catherine, like it's always been hot during the summertime in Central Florida. I mean, we could pull up the data; it's there. You know, I think all of us are just aging little by little, whether or not we want to admit it. Hey, it's on hot days they should have parking lot attendants to check on cars. I mean, it comes down to money. Oliver says, yes, Florida winter lasts 27 minutes on February the 30th. Exactly right. Yeah, yeah, that's it. Nothing more. Not a thing more. All right, questions, comments, concerns about this kind of weather pattern that we've entered into. Once again, dag nabbit, that big ridge of high pressure Saturday builds in. And and what's so interesting, if it seems like this is cyclical, if it seems like we keep having these big blasted heat waves, almost like this happens every, oh, I don't know, 40, 41 days this summer, that's because it is. Right? We know that the weather pattern kind of runs in a cycle. We observe it. It's not perfect, but we observe the overall ebbs and flows. And so, very clearly, there you go. We're back into this pattern. And then once this pattern breaks down, we'll have to start watching the tropics again, right? Like this is the way that it goes. So for now, this big ridge of high pressure is building in, and we've got this massive heat wave moving in, right? What I do think is kind of interesting, statistically, we on average have 106 days of 90-degree heat, and we are sitting on 73 in Orlando. Now, do you think that we only have 20 or so more days of 90-degree heat? Yeah, no. But I do think, statistics. I'm a nerd. Statistics. That means we're almost done with the 90-degree days for the year. I mean, maybe. You know. I just thought that that was an interesting little thing to throw out there, right? We're almost done. Right. Ah, love that. Love that for us. Love that. Linda says, I get in my hot tub to get cooled off. Heat is off under the cover. It's very refreshing. There you go. Oh, man. Too funny. So, anyway, I thought that's kind of interesting on 90-degree days. Yeah, Frank says the heat just shuts off at 106 days. It's just, I'm not saying it's the aliens, but it's the aliens, right? No. Tom's asking, this is a good question. Where do you suggest placement of outdoor sensor for a weather station that shows the current heat index for my location? So the first question is, does it have a radiation shield? Because like I've got a Tempest, it has a radiation shield. So you just put it out and it'll get the measurements correctly. If it's an old school thermometer without a radiation shield, where, like the whole thing is it cannot heat up, like that sort of thing. So, you've got to look at it. Sighting thermometers is a big deal. Remember though, thermometer must be read in the shade unless you have a radiation shield, right? Heat index configures with humidity, with dew point and with temperature. But you have to look at your equipment that you have to see if it is susceptible to heating up, because if it's in the sun, that's obviously a problem, right? Yeah. Oh, Tanya. What did I miss, Tanya? What? Oh my gosh, y'all are crazy. All right. Oh, okay. What? Comments this morning are off the rails. All right. So, questions, comments, concerns about our local forecast, and then we can go take a look at the computer models and the tropics and all that fun stuff. But want to make sure we're all good. I made one with a large plastic tumbler to cover it. So, Tom, I'm guessing that large plastic tumbler does not have a radiation. Put it in the shade. That would be my suggestion. Put it in the shade. Matt's asking, can we BSR today and look past the dust? Yeah, we can do that. Absolutely. Kathy's asking about the coastal forecast. If Kellyanne did it, I don't know if she did. If not, she did not. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It's close to this. It's just not quite as hot. I'm sorry. Yeah, it's old. I can't do it if she didn't do it. I'm sorry. All right. So that's our local forecast. We got about another 15 seconds. Yeah. Got about another 15 seconds. Recap from today. It's going to be hot. Yeah. No, recap for today. It's going to get stormy. Recap for this weekend. It's going to get hot. Absolutely. Stephanie, I might have missed it, but with all this rain, are we still short in the rain? Yeah. Don't throw Kellyanne under the bus. Jeannie Rowan says, "No, it's not throwing her under the bus. It's just we've got, we have to listen. It's a long morning show, and there's a lot of work that goes into it. We have to prioritize. It's not throwing her under the bus at all. She just didn't do it. That's all. She doesn't have to, right? She's the meteorologist on staff. She's got to prioritize her time accordingly. I forget who was asking about the year, the rain, all that. Here's the rainfall numbers as of this morning. Okay. Orlando is in a surplus of an inch. You see very clearly the other sites are still in a deficit. Even with the flooding rains, Melbourne is still in a deficit. Hold on one second. Okay. Apologize. Let's see here. Matt says Kellyanne just had 5 years. Time seems to fly. I remember Kellyanne's interview. I remember her. It was during COVID, and she like Skyped in on an interview. She took a job having not met a soul, having not even traveled to the TV station. Wild. Man, I remember building Kellyanne's graphics for her for that interview. 5 years. Good gravy. It's been 5 years. All right. Tropics time, my friends. So we've got this little thing, not really doing much. We already discussed National Hurricane Center gives it um, a 10% chance of developing. Hold on one second. Okay, so there's the tropical moisture along the northern Gulf, 10% chance of formation. The National Hurricane Center gave it that 10% chance of formation just in case it kind of wants to get out over water. It's not really doing much. It's really not. So let's do this. Let's take a look at the computer forecast models and just kind of get an idea of what's to come, right? So, first and foremost, this is the GFS. I'm going to zoom into the Gulf just a little bit, and you kind of start to see some of the blue shades there. The GFS is at least showing the potential of this trying to deepen into something right before it makes its way ashore. Does that get to the point where it develops into a tropical depression? We'll have to see. But you can see very clearly that little blue dot there right on the Louisiana Texas coastline. That's this kind of the spot that it is. That's Friday, like late morning. That's what is that? No, that's like 2 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the afternoon on Friday. Then it comes in and it just kind of fades, and then high pressure builds in over Florida. That high pressure there, those yellows, that is, my friends, the big ridge of high pressure that's giving us the big heat. All right, continuing on, we'll go back out to a wider shot. I want to go to the full Atlantic basin view just because we're kind of getting into the season where we need to look at the whole basin, right? Right there near the Antilles. Uh, right here, this is July 28th. GFS showing a little something there, right? You see that there? Wide shot showing. I mean, it's tiny, but there's your Lesser Antilles. A little something crossing in. Come back over here to the wider-ish shot. Looks like it would want to be a low rider and not really have much of an opportunity to do much. What's interesting is as it's doing its thing in the Caribbean, look at the Northern Gulf, how another sloppy low along the Northern Gulf. Not a ton to track there. Yep. Okay, back to the basin view. You see how everything's dying there, right? Yep. All right. Little something coming off the coast of like the Carolinas, like up front, but a whole lot of nada. Love that. Whole lot of nada. All right, to the European we go. Let's start in the Gulf. Again, it's wanting to show something. Yeah, it's wanting to show something. Nothing too terribly organized, which is fine by me. All right, back out to the wide view. Look at that again, though. What is this? This is so if we've built high pressure in this weekend to build in the heat, the European is throwing in another little piece of tropical moisture by like early to mid next week. Isn't that funny how that goes? Yeah. All right, let's go to the zeros so we can go further out. Go back out to the basin view. Now, the Euro is not showing that low rider into the Caribbean like the GFS is, but the European is showing something. You see that area like east of Florida? Oh, oh, right at the end there, that like August 7th, August 8th, something kind of approaching the Antilles there. So, not a ton, but stuff to watch. All right. Sorry. I'm like navigating, done with those conversations. Okay. All right. So we've got a couple things to watch kind of down the line. Let's do this though. We've talked about the BSR, haven't done it in a while, so let me get this all set. The BSR is a long range teleconnection. We use it to kind of eyeball ahead and just get a think of it as like a cheat code of some kind. Okay. So let's do this. Let me get this dialed up here. I have to look at my calendar because I have to run some math. All right. So this is. All right. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Okay. So this is like Monday of next week. All right. Nothing crazy. There's another frontal boundary developing an area of low pressure around August 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th. Nothing significant. Around early August, northern Gulf. A little bit of moisture right here. Like August 6th, 7th, 8th. That northern Gulf just wants to be stormy. That yeah, yeah, that August 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th time frame, northern Gulf. Nothing like significant, but like moisture hanging around. All right, and then if we throw in this, go way out. This is just spitballing, honestly. That's like August 18th, 19th, 20th. Just something in the Gulf is all I'm taking from that. August 25th, 26th, 27th. So it looks like just based on this, don't take specificity off of the BSR at all. All I'm seeing here though is the end of August is when the tropics are probably going to want to get a little feistier. End of August, okay? Until then, probably not going to have a ton. But what you're telling us is that as we get to the peak of hurricane season, the hurricanes are going to form. Sure, but we're starting to see indication, and you see where all of those indications were. The Gulf. Where did we say in our 2025 hurricane season forecast that the activity would be? The Gulf. So end of August, my friends. So we've got about another month of relative quiet, right? Okay. Questions, comments, concerns. Now I'm back to reading the comments. I've been looking and looking and looking and looking and looking at the weather graphics. I haven't had a chance to look at your comments, so I apologize. All right. Sonia's asking, could this be a year? I'm not even saying it, Sonia. I'm not even saying that out loud. I'm not even challenging Mother Nature. I'm not challenging Mother Nature. The Ghosted Woman, we haven't really seen a lot coming off Africa this year, have we? We're getting into that phase of the season where Africa will start to turn on the monsoon machine. So give it some time. Yeah, let's see here. Could we have Dexter? Probably some hyper somewhere. Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure we'll. Hi, Vesmir, low ride. As a low. Yeah. Adam on YouTube says African waves typically aren't something to watch until about August, right? And that's where we're getting. So yeah, agreed. All right. Let's see here. Eric is ignoring me. I'm not ignoring you. I'm doing the work. I gewalt. Walter says that happens every year, not new news. Correct. Hence me saying exactly what I said. Yeah. All right. Any other questions, comments, concerns, my friends? Anything at all? Right? All right. It's 8:31. Do you know where your children are? Be the sunshine in someone else's day. Thank you for hanging out for Coffee Talk. I will see you guys and gals tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. for Coffee Talk. Sound good? All right. Take care. Bye.